Everyone's getting a little bit tired of this flashy and fast-paced editing. It's been dubbed retention editing and was made popular by channels like MrBeast that really took off in the last few years. Nevertheless, we've started to see people really utilize this style and copy videos, so you end up having a lot of videos looking and feeling exactly the same way. But there's a new style coming in, and the creators who use this style are getting anywhere from 5, 10, 50k views per video, even for a small channel. Now let's go back to retention editing. What exactly is it? Well, it's all the flashy lights, it's the fast-paced videos, it's the stuff that really keeps your attention. It's what TikTok is based on. It basically just shortens your attention span, but also the people who have short attention spans are more drawn to it. So it's really a bit of a toxic cycle of people getting shorter attention spans as well as watching shorter videos. And slowly, I can imagine a day where you just watch 1-second videos. Could you imagine? So let's talk about retention editing. You see, because it's become so popular, it's everywhere. And the retention style editing is one where it's really fast paced, like I was saying before. There's quick cuts between scenes. It's hard to make a connection with people. You're really just giving people visual drugs to stay hooked on your video. But the problem with this style is that it really does make your videos very similar. Videos start looking exactly the same, and you use the same recipe again and again. On top of that, you need to do a lot of editing. It's actually quite time consuming. And then to get editors, you also got to pay more money. When you think about the kind of connections that you're going to build from that audience, they're generally going to be people who have shorter attention spans. You're not going to build that depth of connection, which ultimately means that the audience that you're building is going to be less committed to you. Now think about it. If you're a business owner, are these the kinds of people that you want to connect with? Or are you looking for those long-term connections, the deep connections with people who really vibe with your content, who know you for you, and want to buy your products? The other problem with this style of content is that you can see the numbers. You see the skyrocketing views. You think that the audience is loving it. You think that the audience is buying whatever you want. But in reality, we've seen people like Alex Hormozi expose what the numbers actually look like. When he started to go broad and try to attract more attention, he actually made less sales. And that's not what we want to do in business. And you know what did work? Well, I'll tell you at the end of the video, but let's start talking about this new trend, what I call the classic style. And this style is your old school videos, the ones where people just talk in front of a camera. You don't need the fast cuts, you don't need the crazy sounds, you don't need the crazy visuals that come up every second. It's just about building a connection, talking to the camera like it's an actual person, and then just sharing your thoughts and your feelings to the world. Believe it or not, this is how you build some of the best connections, and I'm going to be going through some channels that I think are doing a great job of this, so stay tuned for that. Some of the benefits of this classic style is that it's a lot easier to produce. You're able to build a much deeper connection with the audience. It's about being authentic and your audience can feel it. So when you're talking to the camera, it's like you're actually connecting with people on the other side. It's actually a lot easier to film and it's a lot easier to edit. You don't actually need an editor. And if you look at channels like Sam Sulek, he's just able to churn out content because there's such little editing involved. It's just like a raw vlog every single day. Now I've shown you the benefits of the classic style. Let's talk about how you can implement that for your channel and start getting those views rolling in. The 3 most important ingredients for the classic style are that you have to be yourself, you have to keep it simple, and you have to really focus on the storytelling. So let's expand on that. For you to be yourself, let's imagine that the camera is your friend, and it's like you're just catching up with a friend, you're having a chit chat, you're relaxed, you're not really thinking about how the conversation's going because you're so in the moment, and it just happens naturally. It's like you're actually talking with someone right in front of you, and you have that deep connection and that feeling that you just want to be there and you want to talk, and you want to share all your feelings with them because you feel deeply connected. The second thing that helps, and this has really helped my content to grow and develop and feel a lot more natural, is to use bullet points rather than have every sentence structured. I have 2 recommendations for you here. The first is that if you haven't recorded content before, you actually use a more scripted approach. That's because the most important thing is to actually get in front of the camera and to get comfortable recording yourself. But then once you've gone to that stage where you can talk and you can record and you're consistent, then it's about loosening up, using the bullet points and having a more natural conversation. So it's really just about knowing where you're at, using the scripted approach if you're new, and then once you feel comfortable, using a more bullet point and spaced out approach where it's a lot more like a conversation, you're relaxed, you're feeling it, and then you just let it flow. The third thing is to focus on storytelling, and I did that just before when I was telling you about how I went from scripted to bullet points. It's about sharing a journey about how you navigated some difficult obstacle or how you solved a problem. People love to hear stories, so all you have to do is share something that's true to you, talk about how it made you feel, what happened as you went through it, and people love that kind of stuff. I actually attended this seminar where they talked about that point exactly. And so what they'd have is people who went up to stage and they'd share a little bit about something that happened in their life. And there was two very distinct types of people. First were the people who could naturally just talk about themselves, and they would say, you know, I went to the shops, and when I went to buy some hot dogs, they ran out of hot dogs and there was nothing left. I tried to see if there was anything else in the store, but I didn't feel like anything, so I just went home. The other group of people, it's like as soon as the words started coming out of the mouth, you just lose interest straight away. It's like somehow there was a difference between hearing someone's story, something that they're passionate about, versus I don't even know what this was. But you would have experienced this when you just hear someone talking and you know whether you're interested or not, or whether you just watch their lips moving. And that's what it's like. You're just hearing these words, but you're not actually paying attention to anything they say. And that's the group that I don't want you guys to be part of, because they're not telling a proper story. I know you guys know how a story goes, but let's just rehash that a story has challenges, it has the climax, and then the solution, the payoff, and then the finale. And that's generally how a story keeps you captivated. It's the pulls and the pushes away from the storyline that really make you unsure if it's actually going to end up well. And at the end, when everything works out, it's like, ah, that was such a great story. Even when it doesn't work out, you know, you can still make it a great story. It's really just about how you spin it, how you tell that story. So all I'm trying to say in this section is that you just get good at storytelling. You practice with your friends, you practice on the camera. I mean, this is something you can do day in, day out. It's a skill of life, so definitely storytelling is the way to go. The last ingredient of the classic style is just testing. It's testing to find what works for you, what kind of vibe that you like, how you like to speak, the tonality, the pacing, just everything, even the aesthetics, the lighting, all of that. It's really just about finding what feels natural for you in front of the camera and then being able to share that with your audience. All of this stuff takes time. It's really just experimenting, so don't expect anything too quickly. This stuff comes with time. Some of the best channels that you've seen on YouTube, I've talked about MrBeast before, they take time. It all does take time and experimenting. The other thing I want to mention about the classic style is it's really just about bringing it back to storytelling. You don't need the distractions, you don't need all the flashy stuff. It's just about bringing it back to the basics, a genuine conversation, human to human. That's how we all connect to each other. Now I want to share some YouTube channels with you that I believe do the classic style really well and are places that you can learn and improve your own style. Now let's start with the Dry Creek Wrangler, and that's actually a bit of a tongue twister. This guy is just an old guy. He sits in front of a camera and he shares wisdom and life stories with you. He actually just builds such an easy and comfortable conversation that it's like you could spend hours watching him and you don't even realize it. I'm just looking at some of the titles of these videos, and you got Stages of Life, Into Each Life Some Rain Must Fall, Wrangler Be Aware, and Be the Boss. It's like there's not really much in terms of the titles or the thumbnails, but this guy is pulling in the views. Let's go to another channel. The next channel I'll mention, and this is a channel that I've enjoyed watching, is a guy called Sam Sulek. I did mention him before, and this guy has blown up. He's really brought back the authentic style, and it's just simple. You just follow him through the day. I mean, the guy records in his camera as he's driving to the gym. He records in the gym. He even records in the shop. This guy's just living his life, and we're there for the ride, and I just enjoy listening to him. I don't even know why, but I find this guy really interesting. He just is so authentic and so genuine. It's something that I feel like YouTube has been missing all these years. Don't get me wrong, he's also super jacked, so that probably helps to get the views. But in saying that, you know, he pulls the views in because of his physique, but it's because of his storytelling and the way that he communicates to the audience that keeps them there. You can't just have someone who pulls in the views and not have the ingredients to keep them there. So just remember that he's the whole package, whether you like it or not. Someone else that I really enjoy watching is a guy called Dan Coe. And this guy really breaks the mold for some of his video styles. I'm just scrolling through some of his videos, and he's actually got really simple thumbnails. He generally uses black and white, sometimes color, but it's mostly black. A lot of his thumbnails are black and white or very minimal color. He actually is really good with writing, so that's what helps him to keep attention. But when you watch his videos, he's got very little going on. It's a lot of just talking, sharing with the audience. He actually has very good insights, which is, again, the storytelling and his ability to communicate, which really keeps you there. I mean, there's a lot to say about him. If you haven't heard about him, I really suggest you check him out. You get to learn a lot from his content, plus you just get to understand the way he thinks. I think he's a great communicator and someone you can learn from, like I said. And I think he's worth a watch if you ever get a chance. Now I'm going to pull a bit of a wild card on you. This guy that I'm going to mention next has a big channel, but he's actually gone back to simple, smaller channels, and his content is really this classic style. So I'm going to mention his name. His name is Jordan Welsh. He's got a couple new YouTube channels and they're a lot smaller, but he's really practicing the classical method. And I've watched a few of his videos. I really like this style. I find myself just watching them really comfortably, not really having to think too much about the content or how he's presenting. It's just because he communicates so freely and comfortably. It's authentic, like I've said before. It's just really easy to watch. I'm just looking at the titles, and actually most of the titles are all lowercase. His thumbnails are really plain. This guy's already got 40,000 subscribers and he's only uploaded 10 videos on this channel. That's how well this classic method works. I've given you a lot of examples why the classic style is really going to work for you and why it's working for other creators right now. So let's talk about the benefits of the classic style. Right off the bat, it takes a lot of effort, like I've said before, to do retention editing. And I've done that before. It does actually take a lot. You either do it yourself or you got to pay someone to do it. Either way, it takes a lot of time. On top of that, you always run the risk of burnout, either for your editor or for yourself, and that's never a fun game. Now on the flip side, one of the benefits of the classic style is that it's actually really easy to make content. You can actually churn out content, and like I said, if you look at Sam Sulek, he pumps out a video a day, and these videos are getting thousands and thousands of views. Once you build a strong audience following, they've connected with you and they love your content, so they're always going to devour it. And these guys' videos are like half an hour sometimes or more. So that's why it's so powerful to use this style, because it's really going to capture and build those connections with people. Another benefit is that the more you share about yourself, the more genuine of a connection that you build with the audience, and it's unique. No one else can be you because you have all these quirky little things about you. There's little intricacies, everything that you bring in from your mindset, your environment, everything that makes you. No one else can do that in the world. So you are the only you, and you are the only one who can create content like yourself. So it's just more about being yourself, being comfortable with that, and your audience is going to love you for it. I was just listening to Layla Hormozi talk about how she used to think that she was really weird and she felt really uncomfortable on YouTube. But over the years, she's learned to be comfortable with that, and she's seen that her content is starting to blow up. People really identify with her. Her employees look up to her for being herself, and then they feel more comfortable to be themselves. So it's really just about being comfortable in your own skin. You are who you are. Your audience is going to love you for it, because the people who love you are going to watch you, and the people who don't love you, well, they're not going to watch you. So you don't have to worry about those guys. And the last thing, which is why I love this method, is that you're attracting high value, mature audiences. People who have more of an attention span, they're more patient, and they want to build connection. They want to follow people they respect, they want to follow people who they love, and they want to engage with you. This is the kind of audience that you want. You actually don't want the short attention span people who come in, they might criticize you, whatever it is. It's because they actually don't know you. They haven't built that connection the same way. So they're only in for the quick flashy video, and then once that's over, they go on to the next channel. They don't actually build a connection with you, so they're not loyal to you. They don't really care what you have. They don't really care about you. And that's not the kind of people that we want. We want those people who want to invest, who follow you for you. They want to buy your products because they love you and they want to see more of you. They want to help you out. We all connect with each other. You know, those are the kind of connections that we want. And these are the kind of people that you're going to attract with this content. So I really encourage you guys to try this method out. The worst that's going to happen is it does worse than your other videos, but you learn something new. Now, if you want to connect with me and learn more about YouTube, DM me on Instagram. Otherwise, check out my other video about the new YouTube algorithm updates and how they're blowing up small channels. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.